Hello everyone and welcome back to Set 6 Gaming. Now today's video is just going to be a quick tier list of all the limit breaks that you'll find in Final Fantasy VII. Now it's obviously going to be opinion. You might put some of these limit breaks in different positions, like depending on where you pick them up in the game, where you pick certain characters up. So, everyone's going to have a slightly different view to this, but I think on the whole it should be pretty accurate. Now, we're going to get started straight away with the very first limit break that you get in the game, and that's going to be Braver, Cloud's first limit break. Now, it's a decent solid attack, does good damage, but that's about all it does. In the long run, it becomes pretty much useless. But in the early game, it does enough damage. It can get you through some fights nice and quickly. So we're going to put that in rank C there. Now, alongside it in rank C, you're going to find a few of the other level 1 limit breaks. First up, you've got Barrett's Big Shot. Uh, exactly the same as Cloud's Braver. Does a decent amount of damage, hits one target. You can't really ask for too much more than that. Now, one thing that I am going to do at the minute is we are going to leave Tifa alone for now. Her limit break, it's a bit different to everyone else's. It stacks. So each level of the limit break that she gets, as you know, it gets stronger. She adds another attack onto it. But, I mean, you can imagine that each of the individual attacks on their own probably fall into this category, C or B. I just feel like it's going to save a bit of time if we just condense her attacks down. So imagine that her first limit break is going to sit here in rank C alongside Braver and Big Shot. Now, next up, we've got Ares' first limit break, which is Healing Wind. Now, this is a massively, massively useful limit break, which is, it stays useful for a decent amount of time, gives you another healing option in combat, gives you the chance to put yourself out of some pretty sticky situations if you do find yourself in them. So, easily pushes it up to rank B, the first of the rank B, and possibly the best of the early level 1 limit breaks. Alongside it, you've got the next of Ares' limit breaks, Seal Evil. This one, a bit different to Healing Wind. What this does, it casts Silence and Stop on all of your opponents. Doesn't work on everything, but works on a lot of things. So, you'll find that with these two limit breaks and Ares in your party, you're not going to struggle. There's not going to be many fights that are going to push you. Um, you're also going to struggle to justify changing from her level 1 limit breaks to the level 2 limit breaks. Level 3 limit breaks are a different story, but the level 2 ones, the first one at least, is nothing in comparison to these two. Now, next up, we're going to have Red 13. He's going to fall alongside Braver and Big Shot. Again, just one target hit, decent amount of damage. Not really much else to say about this. Then we're going to move on to Kate Sith's first of two limit breaks. That's Dice. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the worst limit breaks in the game. It's ranky trash. You can do more damage with physical attacks in a lot of things, especially late game. This is useless. It's practically useless anyway. And alongside it in the useless sector, we're going to put Vincent's first three limit breaks. So you've got Galian Beast, you've got Death Gigas, and you've got Hellmasker. These three, they give him a bit of a strength boost, and he gets a couple of attacks on each one, but it commits the carnal sin of taking control of Vincent away from you, so you don't have any say in what he does at all in the fight anymore, and that's one of the reasons why I hate these type of limit breaks. You're mostly going to find all of them sat here in Class A because they're just useless, absolutely useless. E-tier, trash. Now, next up, we're going to round up everyone's last tier 1 limit break. So we've got Boost Jump, which is one of Sid's tier one, well, level 1 limit breaks, and that's going to fit into C tier alongside Braver, Big Shot, Sledfang. And as well as that, we're going to put Dynamite in there as well, which is another one of Sid's limit breaks. Now, this one, it's a bit different to the others. It does hit all targets. However, by the time you get it, you've got plenty of options to hit all targets that do just as much, if not more damage, and don't rely on waiting for a limit break in order to do it. So I struggle to put it any higher than rank C. So yeah, that's going to go into rank B. Next up, you've got Mind Blow, Mind Bomb, which is Barrett's other level 1 limit break. It's not really very useful though. All it does is drain MP. I suppose you get the odd fight where it could be useful to steal all the MP from an opponent, but I've always been of the opinion of just going in there and just smashing whatever I'm fighting to pieces. If I need to be tactical about it, I can use barriers, I can use shields and things like that. Mind Blow is just a waste. I'd much rather use Big Shot and do some actual damage than waste an attack on Mind Blow. Then you've got Lunatic High, which is red 13's other limit break. That goes in C tier because of what it does. It doesn't do any damage to the opposition, but what it does is it casts haste on the entire party. So at the stage in the game that you pick it up, it is useful for a little bit, but then it's quickly ruled out once you've got access to haste materials and all materials. You don't really need this limit break anymore at that point. It's useful, but just for a short period of time. And next up, you've got Cross Slash. Now, this one, it's a bit of a tough decision, but I am going to put it in B tier because it kind of combines these two limit breaks just to one target. So it takes the damage of Braver, but it also adds in the stop effect of Seal Evil. So it does have that additional bit of usefulness, but again, it only hits one target, which is a bit weak at this point, but it justifies it being pushed up into rank B. Now, Yuffie's Clear Tranquil limit break, that's a very similar limit break to Aeris's Healing Wind limit break, but by the time you get Clear Tranquil, which is, at the earliest you've gone through around you're in the Junon area by the time you can get to this character, then you've got to unlock the limit break. And by this point, you've probably got Cure to All, you've still got Healing Wind, it reduces its usefulness for me, so that's going to put it down in D tier. And we're going to start off with the level 2 limit breaks now. Actually, no, we need to go back one because we've still got Grease Lightning for Yuffie. Now, again, it's very similar to Clear Tranquil. It's the same as these other attacks here where you just get the one hit. But by the time you get around to her, and I mean, not everyone picks her up in Junon. Some people pick her up a bit later in the game, and if you are one of those people that picks her up a bit later in the game, it's even more useless. So, in fact, I think what we're going to do as well, we're going to push Clear Tranquil up a level because, it is a heal all. It is decent. So, yeah, we're going to put Clear Tranquil in C, and we'll leave Grease Lightning down in D class. And after that, you've got Blade Beam, which I've eloquently labelled Cross Slash. So, just don't notice that. This one, it's not a bad attack. It hits one target and it splits off, and when it splits off to hit the other targets, it does slightly less damage to each of them. I think we're going to put this one in. I think this is going to have to go into C tier because while it does hit all the other targets, the damage that it does to those other targets is pretty much negligible. And Clim Hazard can join can join Blade Beam. See what I'm doing? Can join Blade Beam and Braver in that first tier of limit breaks because again, it's just one hit to one character, decent amount of damage, but nothing beyond that. Then we've got Breath of the Earth for Aeris. This one, it cures all status ailments, but that's all it does. So, I mean, you can do that yourself with items and spells. So, it's useful, but it's limited in its usefulness. So, it's going to go into rank C because I just can't justify putting one of Aeris's limit breaks any lower than rank C. Now, the other limit break for Aeris, which is Fury Brand, this is one of the most useful limit breaks in the game, and this one's going to push straight up into the A tier, the first A tier limit break that we've got in the game. Now, what it does is it fills up the limit gauge of both of her allies in combat. So, say if you've got Cloud and you've got Barrett sat there, you've leveled them up decently, and they've both got level 3 limit breaks, so you can fire off a Meteor Rain, and an Anger Max. That's a stupid amount of damage, all coming from this one limit break of Aeris's. So, yeah, fully justified going into rank A. It can be used for everything. Like, it's useful if you're in a tough fight where you need to dump a lot of damage down on the opponent. You use this and you've got your limit breaks for your other characters. Or it can be used for grinding limit breaks. So, when you've got the level 1 limit break, in order to learn the level, the second limit break in each level, you have to use the first limit break, and Fury Brand can be a brilliant way of filling up your limit gauge over and over and over and over again, just so that you can get through that process nice and quickly. Stupidly OP. Then you've got Bloodfang, Red 13's first limit break level 2. Now this one drains HP and MP, which, as I'm sure you've seen, I'm not really the biggest fan of. It's alright, um, but I'd rather have a full attack with Red 13 and have someone else do a bit of healing really quickly. This one's going to drop into rank D alongside Grease Lightning and Mind Blow. However, the next limit break for Red 13, Stardust Ray, is one of the strongest earlier attacks in the game. What it does is it deals 10 random attacks to the enemy. Now, obviously, depending on how strong Red 13 is, that depends on how strong this attack is. There are better attacks in the game that do more damage, but this one definitely pushes up into rank A alongside Fury Brand. So we've got two solid limit breaks already in the level 2 section. Barret's level 2 limit break, you get Grenade Bomb. Now that's an attack that hits all enemies for a fair bit of damage. And then you've got Hammer Blow, which doesn't always work. It's only a chance, but it can take out an enemy in one hit. Doesn't work on any bosses though, so you can't even use that in a boss fight. It's just useless. I'd probably throw. I think we're going to put Grenade Bomb into C. Sorry, Hammer Blow into C tier because it is a decent. Say if you've just got that one enemy that's a bit annoying, you can take it out with Hammer Blow, but that's literally the only thing it's useful there. Useful for. Now, Grenade Bomb, slightly different story. Because it does decent damage and hits all targets, it is very similar to Sid's Dynamite attack, but you get it a bit earlier in the game because you've got Barret from the start, so you're going to pick this one up nice and quickly, and you can just start ploughing through groups of enemies with this attack, so yeah, definitely gets into B tier. Next up, you've got Hyper Jump, which is, again, similar to this attack. Grenade Bomb puts it in B tier alongside it. You basically just jumps into the air, spikes its spear into the ground, does damage to all enemies. It's nothing special. Now, Dragon, his other attack, is another one that's like Bloodfang. It drains HP and MP, and yeah, you get a weaker hit out of it, so no, D tier for me. Now, for Yuffie, you've got Landscaper and you've got Bloodfest. Now, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Landscaper, that hits all enemies for the same sort of damage that Hyper Jump and Grenade Bomb do, which, it's enough to see it easily push up into the B tier because it hits all enemies, it does solid damage. Now, the next limit break is another one of those level 2 limit breaks that's just a bit crazy. Bloodfest. Now, this sees Yuffie just flying around the battle, deals 10 random attacks across the enemy's team. Now, depending on the level, this can do silly amounts of damage and sees it definitely joining Stardust Ray in the A tier. Now, we're going to round up B tier now and get rid of all of the B tier ones so that we can just finish off this kind of middle of the pack area. So we're going to see, next up, we're going to see Earth Rave, which is Red 13's next limit break. Now, this does 5 random hits, but it's not really enough to justify it going into the A tier where we're seeing 10 random hits across the team. 5 random hits, so it does put it at the top of B tier, like one of the higher up B tier attacks. Same again, Sid's Dragon Dive, I think that's 6 attacks. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is 6 attacks. Yeah, 6 attacks. And then you've also got Big Brawl, another attack for Sid, which that deals out 8 attacks, and that probably is the strongest of the B tier limit breaks. I mean, I can't think of another one stronger. And in fact, I could potentially justify pushing it up into A, but I think we're going to make it so that double digits is the prerequisite to get into the A tier. Next up, you've got Satellite Beam for Barret. Now, it's probably a mid to low rank B. Only hits each enemy once. Might as well use Grenade Bomb in fairness, but Satellite Beam looks quite a bit cooler than Grenade Bomb, so yeah, it definitely gets itself into the B tier there. And then finishing off the B tier, we've got 2 level 4 limit breaks, 2 of the supposed strongest limit breaks in the game, and they're going to fall into B tier. So first up, we've got Cosmo Memory, which is Red 13's biggest limit break, and then you've got Yuffie's All Creation, her final ultimate limit break. These 2 moves literally just hit once to each enemy on the battle, and they don't really do any more damage than at the higher levels. At least they don't really do that much more damage than, well, they don't do any more damage than Grenade Bomb or Satellite Beam or Hyper Jump. So even though they are level 4 limit breaks, just based on pure damage output, they fall into this B tier. Now that's all of the B tier out of the way, so we're going to finish off C tier as well. So we have got Yuffie's Gauntlet move, which damages all enemies, but again, that's all it does. And by the time you get it, you have got much more devastating attacks that you can do. You know, you may as well use Dynamite. You may as that's the kind of level it's on. And then we've got Chaos, which I'm going to put it in D. I'm tempted to put it in E just because of what it does, but I'm going to put it in D just because Vincent is one of the better characters in the game. His story's good. The limit breaks, it's a bit stronger than the other three. The attack's a bit more useful. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at the low end of D, so it is literally just scraping up into D class from E class. Only barely though, because it's just again it takes that control of the character away from you, and that's not what you want. It's not what you want. This is why we avoid berserk status for the most part, or at least I do. I don't know about you guys, but I hate the berserk status because I want to have control of the character. Now, we're going to move into the A tier. First one up in A tier is Cloud's Meteor Rain attack, which does multiple hits to random enemies. It looks quite good, and yeah, it's got a decent enough damage output. I don't think it really compares to Bloodfest or Stardust Ray, but it's up there definitely. And alongside that, we're going to get Finishing Touch. Now, Finishing Touch is basically what Hammer Blow wishes it was. So Hammer Blow, you know, you hit one target with Hammer Blow, maybe a chance of taking him out of combat. With Finishing Touch, obviously it doesn't work against bosses, but in normal combat, I don't think I've ever had this attack fail on me. I mean, I probably have. I can't remember it though. That literally just puts a tornado on the battlefield and it just erases every single enemy out there. Who needs damage when you can do that? It's just the end of the fight. Done. Finished. Over. So yeah, it's got to go into the A tier. Now they're probably at the lower end of the A tier along with Fury Brand, but they definitely belong in there. 100% belong in there. Now, another one that finds itself in the A tier is Barrett's Catastrophe Limit Break. Now, Catastrophe delivers 10 hits randomly across the enemy. It does fall just short of being in the S tier along with Bloodfest and Stardust Ray. But it's not the only thing that Barrett's got up his sleeve. We'll come back to him later. Now, we have left her alone so far, but Tifa's final Heaven Limit Break, as we, that, I mean, straight off the bat, I'm just going to say it's going straight into A tier because once it's a full limit break combined, it does, I believe, 7 hits, but the last hit hits all enemies, so Final Heaven hits all targets on the battlefield, and it just pushes it that little bit more useful than some of the sub 10 hit limit breaks like Earthrave and Landscaper and Dragon Dive. Just the fact that that hits all targets, it just adds a bit to it. One thing I will say though, it is a bit of a pain dealing with the slot mechanic and things like that. So you could argue that it just drops into B tier and becomes the strongest of the B tiers. But I'm gonna put it up here alongside Meteor Rain and Fury Brand. I think that's probably the fairest place to put it. Once I'd probably say once she's got 6 of the attacks, it'd be a bit. If she only had 6 of the attacks and didn't have Final Heaven on the end of it, then yeah, it'd definitely be in B tier. But Final Heaven just pushes it over the edge a little bit. Now we're going to jump back to Ares. Now we've left her alone for a little bit, but she's back and she, well, she's breaking the game. So you've first off, you've got Pulse of Life, which is a buffed up version of Healing Wind. What she does is she heals all of the party's HP and MP, but also it adds in the Breath of the Earth limit break, which cures all status effects. So just using that one limit break resets you back to full health, full MP, no status effects, start the fight again basically. Now that's a pretty good limit break. You know, you'd think that'd be enough, but no, no. Also in the level 3, she's got the Planet Protector limit break, which makes the party invincible for a short period of time. It's not all the fight or anything like that, but it's long enough for you to say if you're in the middle of a fight and things have gone a bit pear-shaped, you throw down Planet Protector, you're invincible for a few minutes and you can sort your party out a little bit. Alternatively, you can use Pulse of Life, put yourself back to full health and keep on fighting. So between those two limit breaks, she is literally a get out of jail free card, but there's much more to come. Now, we've still got a couple of the detail limit breaks to finish off, and that's Howling Moon and Slots. Now, Howling Moon is Red 13's limit break where it buffs him and it hastes him, which sounds pretty good on the face of it. But then it also puts Berserk into the mix as well, which just exactly the same as with my Galian Beast and Death Gigas. You lose that control of the character. Now, putting it in D just because it does give him haste and it does give him that stat boost as well. So there are some benefits to it, but on the whole, unusable. I'd say it's not a limit break that I'd ever use. So yeah, D tier barely. And next to that, you've got the slots limit break, which sometimes it's the greatest thing in the world, sometimes it's a game over. It's just not something that I fancy taking the chance with. And do you know what? I'm moving it down to E tier. I really do not like this limit break. Like initially, yeah, it can be a bit of fun and it's fun to play with, but then say if you're in the middle of a serious fight and you use it and bam, you get the game over slots. That's it. You've that's it. You've lost. Game over. Nothing you can do. No way of salvaging it. All just because three little reels landed on game over. So yeah, that, it's the worst kind of limit break. I mean, I'd rather use Hartley Mood. I'd rather use Dragon than slots. I'd rather use dice. Like, slots is possibly the worst. No, maybe not. M3. Not a fan of M3 either. But anyway, we've left it alone for long enough now. We're going to get into the top tier now, the S tier limit breaks. So first off, we're going to jump straight in with Barrett. His level 3 limit break, Angamax, or if you're old, like me, played the English release Ungamax, as it was translated originally. Now, this limit break is probably the strongest limit break in the game damage-wise. Well, it's got one competitor. It comes in, deals massive 18 hits to the enemy. Now, if you've got your stats maxed out, that's 18 times 9,999. It's the most damage you can do in the game. It's stronger than Knights of the Round. You have to mime in order to beat Angamax or Ungamax. So yeah, there's no question, 100% S tier. Alongside it, we've got Doom of the Living, another level 3 limit break. Now, this one only deals 15 hits, but I say only, it still keeps it as probably the third strongest attack, fourth strongest attack in the game, as long as you've got her stats maxed out, that is. Obviously, you'll need to grab some power sources just to buff up the strength of the characters and the attack of the characters. But once you've done that, there's nothing coming close to this limit break. Nothing coming close. Alongside that, you've got Omnislash, which is the same, 15 hits. Possibly the coolest looking attack in the entire game as well, and the one that, well, it plays a part in the main story. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that it isn't the strongest attack. It's a shame that it doesn't do a couple more hits to push it over Angamax. And also, while we're here, High Wind, which deals 18 hits, exactly the same as Angamax, and is literally Sid summoning his airship to come and drop some bombs. I mean, it doesn't get any sillier than that. I absolutely love the High Wind limit break. Ludicrous amounts of damage. All of them putting out more damage than Knights of the Round. Yeah, I mean, you can't really question it. There's only one other limit break that comes close. Well, in my opinion, destroys these limit breaks because it is the most overpowered limit break in the game, and that is Ares' Great Gospel limit break. Now, yeah, hold on. I know some of you are probably going to disagree. It doesn't deal any damage whatsoever, which, yeah, fair enough. Doesn't deal any damage whatsoever. What it does is it breaks the game basically. It combines Ares' previous two limit breaks. So you've got Pulse of Life, which gives you the full restore, the full HP, the full MP, and cured status effects. And on top of that, you get Planet Protector, which buffs you. And it seems like the Invincible buff for Great Gospel is slightly longer than the Invincible buff for Planet Protector. I've not looked up the numbers. I might look up the numbers at some point and flash them up on screen now, but if not, that's just always been my perception of it. That Great Gospel gives you a little bit more time, but it's not as if you need it. And like genuinely, this just reinforces my belief that if Ares had been a part of the playable party for longer than she was, it just flat out would have broken the game. Because any situation you get into, I mean, you just literally would walk around with Ares on full limit break, never use it. Great Gospel just sat there ready and waiting to go. Oh no, something's gone a bit drastic. Bam, Great Gospel. And you're fine. That's it. You could walk into any of the weapon fights with Great Gospel, use it, no problem. The end game fights, are already easy if you do any degree of grinding in this game. Like you can already walk in and practically one-shot Sephiroth in a lot of instances. If you were to add into that the ability to not take any damage, it's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. But yeah, that's my ranking of the limit breaks that you find in Final Fantasy VII. Like I say, there's only 5 of them that really justify pushing into this top tier, and I don't think there's any real like. Well, some people would probably argue Great Gospel. I mean, you could say it only goes down into A tier because you can't use it beyond the end of disc one, but no, don't care. S tier. So that's going to be the end of that. So thanks very much for watching the video. We're going to do a few more of these tier lists over time as we get a bit further through the playthrough that we're doing, and we'll expand it out to other games in the series. So if you've got any ideas for any kind of tier list that you'd like to see, drop them down in the comments below or send them to Twitter or anything like that. But smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. Take care.